Brooklyn Independent Television.
Coming up on Brooklyn Review.
The MTA is ringing in the new year with a lot of changes. I'm Melissa Rose Cooper in Ditmas Park, and coming up, I'll tell you how it's going to affect your commute.
Setting new standards for building smart in Brooklyn.
Once people understand what this is, everybody's going to demand that, they have a building that meets those standards.
And some bold names make their way to the dance floor at the 3rd annual Stars of New York Dance. We'll have these stories and more next. Welcome to Brooklyn Review. I'm Brian Vines, and it's our first show back in the new year, so thanks for being here. Brooklynites are going to have to dig into their pockets a little deeper in 2013 in order to get around the city. And if you buy a monthly Metro card, it's soon going to cost you an extra $8. But if you drive across the Verrazano Bridge, it's now going to be about $15. But these aren't the only changes the MTA is making this year. Melissa Rose Cooper has more.
Q train stations in Ditmas Park are getting complete makeovers in the new year. But the price to look like millions of bucks isn't making everyone happy.
I personally think it's a big mistake. It's horrible. If I could pick it, I would pick it.
That's not good news at all. I'm not happy to hear that. That's going to be stressful for the next upcoming months.
The MTA plans to shut down Coney Island-bound train service for 5 months at the Cortelyar Road, Beverly Road, and Parkside Avenue stations. After the work is done, the Manhattan-bound sides will be shut down for another 5 months. The service disruptions will force strap hangers to find alternate routes and could even add on extra time to their commute. If this train station is closed and you have to come pick up your granddaughter, what are you going to do?
I don't know. I have to go back to Church Avenue and ride back and get off and walk.
Area businesses are also afraid about how the closures will affect them.
First of all, I didn't think that the train stations needed to be renovated. They look fine to me, so I don't understand exactly what they're doing. I don't think that's been made clear to us. And specifically for this store, a lot of people come from Kensington and walk by the store on their way to the train station or on their way home from work. So it will definitely impact my business. So I'm a little bit worried about that.
To do that all together, that's like a horrible impact on people. We have people that are coming in and out of the area. They either live in the area and they leave to go to work, or they're coming from another area to come to work here. So that's not good for anybody, not even the customers or the workers. It's horrible. I mean, we count on the trains being working. If they're not working, how do we maneuver it? When it comes to the buses are just as bad as the trains. So to shut down the trains and to rely on the buses is horrible, because you could be standing for a bus more than a half hour or so. It's bad enough you gotta wait for the trains, but they do work. So if they're not working, this is bad.
And shutting down the train stations isn't the only change that's coming. The MTA says it's increasing Metro card fares and tolls across bridges and tunnels in March to help balance the budget.
And that never makes sense to me, because it's not like the service gets any better. You know what I mean? So it's like, what are we really paying for? They're just doing whatever they can to squeeze whatever nickels and dimes they can get out of us,
I want to know what they're doing with all the money.
The MTA expects to begin renovations in May, and whether or not Brooklynites are happy about it, some say they just need to deal with it. How's it going to affect your commute coming to get your daughter?
You gotta leave a little earlier. I'm used to it. Even when you work, you gotta be ahead of time. Like, you gotta go to work, anything can happen, and they beef with you when you go to work. Oh, you gotta come to work early, leave earlier. That's what they tell me. So you gotta leave earlier to come get my daughter.
For Brooklyn Review, I'm Melissa Rose Cooper.
Coney Recovers is a nonprofit organization created after the storm that's dedicated to promoting the people's playground and improving the quality of life for the entire Coney Island community. Their new mobile trucks are set up in Coney Island to help restore businesses, heat, and electricity and other essential services to Coney Island as Brooklyn continues to storm back.
This camp at Coney Island's Surf Avenue parking lot serves a great purpose: to organize relief and recovery for the area, one of the hardest hit during Hurricane Sandy. As part of the city's rapid repairs program, dozens of mobile trailers are set up here, with different contractors helping the community get back on its feet.
They are going house by house first to do assessments if people sign up for the rapid repairs program, and then follow on with a plumber, an electrician, and general contractor to help people restore basic services to their houses. So that's power, heat, hot water.
This mobile trailer has become a swing place for many nonprofit groups, like Alliance for Coney Island. They have no base right now, but still have clients they need to serve. And this temporary office is equipped with basic needs.
So we have internet access, we have phone lines, we have a copy machine.
All the businesses along Mermaid Avenue and Neptune and Surf were completely wiped out. The inventory was wiped out. The structure was wiped out. So as you go along Mermaid Avenue, you could see that day after day stores are coming back. Some stores won't, but then others are coming in. And so I think there's a lot of hope for the future.
Donations have been pouring in, like the recovery fund of more than $200,000 raised since the hurricane hit the area to help organize volunteer and relief efforts.
And then we got donations of furniture, and we got some donated time and services from contractors. So we've been able, as part of that grant, to establish this office. And the grant also covers a few other programs that are very important. One is a re-grant program for not-for-profits and faith-based organizations in the area that themselves are struggling to rebuild and serve their clients. Another portion is planning activities for planning for a more resilient Coney Island, and we're partnering with NYU and its post-catastrophe reconstruction curriculum. And then we also have a few other components, including workforce, that we're branding under the Coney Core name. And that's workforce development, training, it's job placement and referral services, and it's potentially some direct hires here through our organization to assist with cleanup tasks in the neighborhood.
Volunteers still come here, like this guy from Omaha, Nebraska, who flew to New York to give a hand to locals recovering from Sandy.
Well, I already have experience with Hurricane Katrina. I helped out in the Upper 9th Ward. We had to march on City Hall because it was messing over the poor people down there, and I don't need any training. Well, down in New Orleans, I did what they call gutting out houses, where you take all the belongings out and you knock off all the black mold drywall and basically strip it down to the nails and the studs, And I did a lot of that, but I also have experience in remodeling and carpentry. I've done a little bit of electrician work, so I feel like this is where I'm most useful in the world right now.
It'll still take a long time to rebuild Coney Island, from the famous amusement park that had suffered a lot of damage to businesses, schools, and the hospital, still undergoing renovations. But people here say the goal is not to just get back where they were, but be stronger, prepared to next Sandy, if it hits again. For Brooklyn Review, this is Julia Vassey.
As winter trudges on, many of us are feeling the sting of high energy bills. But some people in Brooklyn are building and renovating in a way that reduces the energy need for heating and cooling by as much as 90%. It's called the Passive House method, and a few such projects recently opened their doors to the public for the annual Passive House Days event.
So today, like last year, the Passive House community in New York, actually all over the world, has a weekend of open houses to introduce to the other architects and also the public what is Passive House.
Passive House is an approach to new construction and building renovation that sort of rigorously addresses the operational energy use of the building, to seek radical reductions in the energy demand for things like heating it and cooling it. If you can reduce the heating demand to such a low level, you can, by and large, heat the building passively with the people in it, with the lighting, with the appliances that you're doing in your normal everyday life. It's really trying to lift energy efficiency levels to what's needed to be realistic in dealing with climate change.
So I was at the Passive House event last year and I learned a lot. So of course I wanted to share the knowledge we gained now in that year actually working on one.
I became interested in the Passive House movement basically by doing some research online. And today I saw there was an open house in the area and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to visit for a couple days and see a lot of the Passive House and gain more information.
As you can see, the tubes that are hanging here throughout the house, that's a Zender ventilation system.
The most important aspect for me is a very comfortable home to live in, very energy efficient home to live in, something that'll save money over the long term and be very healthy for me and my family.
There's basically a few fundamental principles in Passive House in the construction and how you approach it. There's nothing terribly radical in and of themselves. They're all building components or approaches that have been sort of tried and true over the decades. One is having continuous insulation around the building, and this means all sides, the roof, the ground plane, all four walls. You have a continuous airtight layer because a tremendous amount of energy is lost through just air leaks. And because we're airtight and the functioning of the whole building really revolves on having good indoor air, we have a continuous ventilation system.
These other two are going to go through the roof and be installed there. One's supply, one's return. And then these are the filters that go in and out of the machine.
The fresh air that's coming in is filtered before it enters the building. So in many conditions, like in the urban setting we're in, the air inside the building is going to be much cleaner, dust-free, allergen-free, soot-free environment than the outside.
There was a lot of learning costs, but cost itself probably 5% more, but it's an investment, so you're recouping your costs as part of the investment by reducing your energy use. People say 80%. And I have less equipment in the building, so I have less maintenance, I have less pipes, less moving parts. That's all cost in the future.
This building was sort of a perfect storm of acquiring it for a price where we felt like there was enough room that if it took longer or if we had to redo something, that we could still get it done. And I think it's quality construction done to the extreme, and it's really how every building should be built. So it made a lot of sense. The interest has been phenomenal. We had 140 people at our first open house. After 3 weeks, we had 3 units with accepted offers. That was the only 3 units that we released. We've now released our lower duplex. We have a lot of interest of that. So it's been unbelievable. It's unfortunate that there's not enough product to meet the demand. Even at a lower price point. I think once people understand what this is, everybody's going to demand that they have a building that meets those standards. Brooklyn is an environment where people expect tangible results or returns, and I think Passive House is the most tangible green construction. Brooklyn's sort of become the hub for Passive House. I think there's more projects in Brooklyn that are being built to Passive House than anywhere else in the country.
Brooklyn has lots of historic neighborhoods, so it's of course key that we mix these two important aspects of buildings. You want to preserve the Brooklyn brownstone. You want to create more comfortable environments with these passive houses, and you want to be energy efficient. I mean, the city is trying to be more energy efficient, and Brooklyn can do a lot because there's quite a bit of renovation still can happen. Just to make the attempt, I think, is important. And that's what I wanted to reach, that I'm creating a more comfortable and more energy efficient building.
The Miss America pageant is more than a swimsuit and talent competition. It's a national program that provides personal and professional opportunities for young women to promote their voices in culture, politics, and the community. And here in Brooklyn, we're rooting for 23-year-old Mallory Hagan, a Park Slope resident who won the local title of Miss New York and will be competing for the reigning crown as Miss America this year. Reporter Fred Brown sat down with Mallory, who shared her big dream.
Here she is, Mallory Hagan, and she admits that she's just a big kid in high heels, a bright pink skirt, and a shiny tiara. But she also is the official 2012 Miss New York, and she'll represent the Big Apple in this year's 2013 Miss America pageant. I met up with Mallory this summer, where she shared her journey toward the big competition and how dreams really can come true.
I always thought that Miss America was something that I could never attain. It was something that I would be really lucky to be a state title holder, and then Miss America would, just going to Miss America would be icing on the cake, but I never thought that was something that I could really do. And this year I just came back from Orlando, Florida, where I met all of the contestants. We had orientation. I got to meet Miss America, and it suddenly became real to me that it was a tangible goal, and it's something that could be accomplished.
It's presented by Miss New York's Outstanding Teen Pageant. We love you, Mallory! Woo!
Oh my God, I almost threw up.
Thank you for being a tremendous audience. Don't forget.
It's just really important in life to be diverse in your thoughts and your beliefs. And Brooklyn's really, I always felt like I was very open-minded to begin with, but I've lived in, like you read, I'm sure, a Hasidic neighborhood. I've lived in a Russian neighborhood. I've lived in so many different neighborhoods. It's taught me so much about, it's not just about walking by the street and not thinking twice about that person that walks next to you. It's more about walking by the street and actually knowing the culture of the person that's walking next to you. It's given me an opportunity to learn so much about the people around me, and it's something that I don't think I would have gotten anywhere else in the world.
For Mallory, Brooklyn is the place that she now calls home, and being a role model for young girls comes with the territory.
Women that look at beauty pageants like yourself and beautiful, like, oh my God, I want to aspire to be like her. You give them a realistic look at what, is realistic.
Well, here at the park, we have so many girls who live in this wonderful imaginative place in their youth, and it has a lot to do with dressing up or being a princess. And for me, even growing up, the Miss America pageant was this opportunity for scholarship and for education, and it represented a certain democratization of the educational opportunity process. And it's really a thrill to have you here today, because I think that you're the reality of where all of that imaginary play with your tiara can go, to take on a cause, to represent the state, to represent Brooklyn, and to be an example of what a woman, a feminist can be in this day and age. You can kind of be the whole package.
Are you optimistic?
I'm so optimistic. I truly am the person that's glass half full always. My mother has always taught me to be that way. There's a bright side to everything, I'm just happy to be here and to have lived the life that I've lived, and I feel so lucky. I've dealt with hardships just like anyone else in the world, but it's how you take those things and move forward that count. Yeah.
And now for a little dancing. The Stars of New York Dance is an event that brings together local leaders with the leading ladies and gentlemen of the dance world to destroy the dance floor. Teachers, funeral directors, and a few well-known state senators got their groove on for the arts, and Anna Lamonta Salisbury brings us the story of the Boogie Battle that's becoming a Brooklyn tradition.
Dancers at Long Island University's Cumbo Theater made a December evening hotter than July as they danced the night away at the 3rd annual Stars of New York Dance. Cheryl Todman is the founder and executive producer for the Stars of New York Dance, a fundraiser that awards scholarships to dance students.
This event that Cheryl puts together is incredible because it really gives children an opportunity that can't afford to be able to take lessons, especially now in the economic climate that we're in. A lot of families can't afford to send their children to take classes.
Getting ready for the big day took some training. Participants expressed a new appreciation for the workout they experienced in preparing for the competition.
I went from a guy with 2 left feet a couple of weeks ago, and Zakiya Harris, the principal dancer at Asaseya Dance Company, has really transformed me into a swan before your eyes. But it was a great opportunity. We're happy to be involved in this really worthy project.
Not all the stars in the show were novices. Reverend Richard Honeywell had some experience and couldn't wait to be asked to strut his stuff.
Cheryl Todman, who is the organizer of the program, knows me. She was a choreographer some years ago at St. Paul Community Baptist Church, and particularly with the men's dance ministry. So I danced with the brothers a couple of times in the past with her choreographing her, and it just happened that she reached out to me over the summer, back in July, to participate in the program. She didn't even know I was thinking about it, wondering, will I ever get a call for this?
Other would-be champions were only given a moment's notice to get their dancing feet ready.
Last Tuesday, Cheryl called me Sunday and said, "Fran, I need you." So I said, "What is it, Cheryl?" She says, "Council member Neely, I keep saying, Neely had an accident, and we need someone to stand in." So I said, "Cheryl, use your other options." I said, "Do you have other options?" She says, "Yes, I have 2 other people." So I said, "Use your other options." And she says, "Okay, I'll call you back tomorrow." Well, that was Monday. She didn't call Monday, so I said, "Good." She called me Tuesday and said, "Fran, you're it."
The judges, who included Daniel Gunny Simmons and Troy Blackwell Cook, seemed to get a kick out of the performances. There was something for everyone, from 80s pop to gospel favorites like this praise dance performance of the Hawkins singers Be Grateful. In addition to being a fundraiser, the event paid tribute to the work of Reverend Johnny Youngblood for his community service in Brownsville and East New York.
Well, I have the distinct privilege of having been the pastor to Cheryl Todman for a number of years while I was at the St. Paul Community Baptist Church. And now she's with me at the Mount Pisgah Baptist Church, where I've been now for about 12 years. And a number of the dancers grew up under me. The dance ministry has always been big in my ministry.
But the showstopper was hands down this performance by State Senator Kevin Parker with partner Zakiya Harris, who took it back way back.
Good evening. We're now at the part that I'm comfortable with.
For Brooklyn Review, I'm Anna Lamontage Salisbury.
Thanks for watching this edition of Brooklyn Review. We hope that you enjoyed it, and if you like, you can always check us out again and review past episodes at our home on the web at bricartsmedia.org. You can also get us on Facebook, iTunes, YouTube. You can even tweet us. So please continue to be in touch and join us for the next Brooklyn Review. Bye now.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at bricartsmedia.org/BIT.